Okay. Oh my gosh. First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. I gotta be thankful to God. I gotta say that because I know life is not gonna be easy, and but I was able to see things for what they are. One thing you understand when you're in this program, reality is reconstructed. They redesign reality, and people of all sorts gaslight you, right? As a target individual, one thing please understand: they have reshifted reality. They have reconstructed reality, and this is part of this program. One thing you should never, ever, ever, ever is identify or even look at the perps involved in that to try to make you accept a false reality. That's their job. For me, I know that they have to damn themselves down. It's okay. You have given me the luxury, the pleasure to show how damn down you have to be. I'm so thankful that I didn't have to dumb myself down for whatever because they love what they do. Like they love involving themselves in this. You gotta understand. I have accepted the reality of what is happening here. What I am is I'm a test subject. The government is using me, like so many others, to continuously develop a weapon system that attacks your body and your mind. When it comes to attacking your mind, they manipulate your brain. Your brain is completely reconstructed. You are forced to have disgusting reaction, stimulation, sensation that you will not have naturally. Those stimulations are just like a degrading way. So they make you have sexual stimulation toward children, sexual stimulation toward kids of all ages, the babies to the older kids, and then have these perps who are contracted civilian to make you acceptive of this manipulation. I don't know how they can even be clowns at this level. I don't understand. Like the credibility for me looking at them is greater like I look at them. Sorry, it's the opposite. I'm sorry. They lose more credibility, and I see them more and more for the clowns that they have to be. I don't understand how they like. That's why I take picture of them. Oh, some of the facade so magical. The way they make themselves angry, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have stayed in character so hard that you even make yourself angry. Clowns, but it's okay because I get the luxury to put reality in their face. It's a luxury. I'm so thankful for that. It's a privilege for me to make somebody who, in every other level, would have been somebody more logical, rational than me, or somebody who all along wanted to create a fantasized reality. And you look at them, it's like, oh, you don't know what kind of person. You know that I love doing that. Do you know I love to put that in your face? Matter of fact, that's why I have your picture here. Those are perps, employers. One of them is just. I love when they do these things. They tell me how they at war. They stay at war. It's some bullshit stories to come up. It's like a way to kind of block out reality. They're like, no, we at war. And she swing her. I'm like, Jesus. Oh yeah, really? You're at war over there in your home in your sweater and Jesus. You're not at war, but you're supposed to break me down into accepting this false persona. I get it. It's not a war. I'm not going to give you that. You're going to have to be a clown as long as I can able to call you out for the clown that you are. But what destroys them and destroy the facade is the reality. What is the reality? It is so destructive. These entities running this program, I am thankful, and I know God is around. I know there's a God because I've never seen people who have to be so fucking retarded, excuse my language, when you have a reality that is destructively so obvious that the who they try to project you as is actually what these entities have issues with. As in, they have internal issues, regard of these pedophilia issues, and they use some childlike retards. Oh my goodness, and some grown ass men, and I love when they do that because like you're a fucking retard, and I'm glad I didn't ever have to live life like you. I'm sorry for the emotions, but there's a lot of psychology, cognitive manipulation, and psychology warfare of some sort. This technology can literally start controlling your thought process. Once you hook to this device that can capture your signals, you start thinking and rationalizing the way they want you to. And it gets worse and worse and worse with time because it's like they can go deeper and deeper in your brain and your thought process and manipulate you more and more and also condition your brain. So it goes more ingrained. It gets more like deep, like they become more like involved. they become more able to manipulate you, more controllable, and your thought process is so poison, it's crazy. Listen, so what's happening today is because today what they make me experience is something as forced. They make me experience this nastiness. It's degrading, and then they act themselves. They act like they're like some kind of protectors of children. Oh, she's good. Like they stay in character. Matter of fact, let me just say this. This is how nasty it is. Some of these people here know they're gonna frame me using children. They're gonna frame me using children and say, and they to stay in character. Sometimes they talk about, oh my gosh, she's only 14 years old. Oh, ugh. And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. By the way they let me know that I can hear somebody opening up the door, screaming something. She's only 14. Slam the door, goes back, or some version of that. And my coworkers or they all act like, oh, so, some of them with attitude and everything. I'm like, you're a fucking clown. It's like, oh, you're gonna die in a sewer. I'm like, I'd rather die in a fucking hole, in a well. I would be starving to death on the street than ever have myself connected to this and having to counter and deflect from this target individual. One thing, this thing is you'll find out that these perps have to dumb themselves down to another level. Let me tell you this. Every day I have to wake up and try to maintain sanity because the way they've just reconstructed my logic is just illogical. I just listen to this, and I'll give you a sample of it. I listened to this podcast. It's called, I think it's like a adult content, adult podcast. They talk about sex and everything else. And one man is like, hey, I've been having sex for a long time, very young. When I was 13, 14, I went to prom with a high school senior prom, and they're like, oh, that's crazy, that's crazy. And then they start changing like around. It's like, okay, like, I don't, it's just, first of all, this woman, you're gonna hear what she says. She's like, first of all, when I was in high school, I don't even want to date anybody below me, right? It's like I dated either somebody in my class or higher, right? And so the conversation ended up starting focusing on other things, right? They start talking about, oh, but this guy is dating like 20-year-old. We're dating like high schooler, right? I'm gonna refer back to what they try to connect me with. You see that chat over there? You see, not even that chat, that messenger from Facebook from 2009. I'll bring up why I'm putting that up. And so the story goes on. This woman said, when I was like 15, I was dating like 22, 23-year-old. It's crazy. And this woman also goes like, what? Like, I would date somebody maybe who, if I graduate, that just graduated when let's just say, I'm guessing when she's a senior, she can date somebody who just graduated or somebody who just graduated, period, right? So people who not too long ago, perhaps at one point, were even in school with them, right? So they bring that up, and so for me, like I said, they try to pay me in this fashion as if I'm like this guy who want to pick up teenager and things like that. So when they go back, let me just see 2009. At that point, I'm 21 years old, right? I'm 21 years old, and you understand that not too long ago I just graduated from high school. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, so I graduated high school. I graduated high school a little bit later than what I should be, but 2 years ago I was out of high school. Okay, so you understand that transition time. There's people that I'm with that just are graduating high school, and some who just started college, because I'm in college at that point. It's that time where senior and college students are like close to it, like especially like beginning of senior. That's like that age of like where things are kind of you're around that same circle. Matter of fact, some of my friends are still finishing up high school. I'm in college at this point. Shortly after, my brother, who's like 3 years younger, who just finished, like just finished high, like, so that world is still like the same kind of, because I just finished high school. I have my friends, my best friends are finishing high school. My brother, who's like a few years younger, so that world is not too far. And there was this place where we used to go out, called, I'm not gonna say it, but there's a place where I used to go between 18 and 22. That's the age really I used to go out. That's where everybody used to go, because they let you in if you were 17, but you couldn't drink until you're 21. They was a very popular places, and you'll see the video. Matter of fact, actually, never mind. You're seeing it here. See that place? Because I'm making the audio before I make the video. See that place there? Yes, this is a place where we used to go out. Me and my best friend that you see over there at the time. He was also in college. He's maybe a year younger than me or so. Best friend. We go out all the time. He was like really almost like a brother to me. Okay, so what does he have to do with me? Okay, that podcast talks about this like 22, 20, whatever, dating this kids, this high schoolers, and I'm talking about high schoolers that don't even like. This woman was talking about she was 15 years old, so it's not even like we're talking about sophomore, freshman, high schoolers, not even 10, 11th grade, not even senior, right? And so they try to bring to me. Now, when I just graduated, I went to this place where we go out, and there, like I said, there's people within finishing up high school and early college, and I met this girl, 3 years younger than me. 3 years younger than me. Matter of fact, she was going to finish up. She was now a senior, and I just started college. Like I'm a year in college. 3 years difference. So they try to use AC because what's happening today? Today in 2024, in my 30s, they are forcing me to have sexual stimulation to kids of all ages, the babies to the older kids. Some of them, even just young adults, just because they're young. You see that you see this chat here I'm having, this messenger is me in 2018 on Facebook Messenger, talking to the best friend who's the same age of the girl I was dating, but she had like a few months older. She's like a month or two older, a few months older than her. The person I was dating took her ID because she already had like she was like a few months older, and so went to this place where it's like 18 and up. So you understand. Now you see 2000. So I talked to her in 2008. Today, when they try to validate themselves, how to make me have this experience. Let me just repeat. This is 2000. So if we're talking about 16 years ago, I dated the friend of this person here. Because as you can see here, I say a long time ago. Yeah, 16 years ago. 16 years ago. This woman is now 3 years. I mean, she's 3 years younger than me. We're talking about she's hitting mid-30s. Let me just say that today they're forcing me to have this stimulation to children, and then like now we mapped it. You see why I then it's like what I was with somebody who's 3 years younger than me. These people are clowns, and they try to find ways because the story of like this. Of course, when you talk about 15 or whatever, some sophomore, some sophomore, some freshmen or whatever. She said 10, 11 years old, 10, 11, 10 or 11th grade. 10 or 11th grade, right? Dating 22 to I was like. So they tried to make me imagine that. I was like, no. And then they bring up my best friend that you see here. We used to go out to that place. We used to go out. Where, like I said, people toward the end of high school, like I'm mostly senior and to the like beginning of college. So you'll see people like from mostly 18 to 22. I think that was like the age ratio of the people there, and we were going there at the same time during that time. You can see he calls it out. It's like we used to go to that place all the time. It's like because there was like a Facebook like memory thing, and then it was like okay, I remember that when we used to go out to that place. So we used to go to the same place. I'm talking about the same age range, like 18 to 22. He meets this girl, right? And I think at this point, I don't know if she's 18 or so. He's like 20. I don't even know she's 18. No, she's about to be 18, if anything. But he's like 20. I'm a year older than him. So we're like, okay, and they're graduating. She's a senior, right? That was the last year, and he's like, hey, let's do a double date. I have my friend here, and so we have a double date. So I have a double date with the friend of my friend's friend, right? Of my friend's date. So we had a date, and she actually, when we were talking dating, she actually was saying, she tried to make it sound like she's the older one. She's like, oh yeah, I'm the older out of the group. I was like, okay. I think she was just trying to impress me, but she was not the older. Actually, the others were the older one, so she was not like 18 yet. But she was trying to make it seem like she was. But we never actually had sex, and we just ended up just kind of kissing or whatever. And mind you, like, at this point, I'm like 21. She's a senior in high school. I'm a few years in college, maybe 2 years at that point, 1 or 2 year, and that's that. They try to use that as like, oh, we matched. You see that? You're so sad. And by the way, we do a graduation party, right? Because at this point, I'm able to buy liquor. They're about to graduate. We're in college, so we decided to have a little thing at my place, at my apartment. We're drinking alcohol. I ended up hooking up with one of their friend who's 18, and I'm 21. We're talking about this right now. These people are like, oh, you see your proof we mapped it. Oh yeah, and these people act so retarded. Because what's happening today, as a 30 plus man, they try to be like, oh, we mapped it. You see the proof. You're so sad. We're matching you to you when you were about the same age of these people. These people are clowns and create reality the way they want it. Matter of fact, to just annoy you, just to disturb them, man. Just not to disturb them, but just to put reality in their faces. Guess what I do? Oh, I'm talking to these people now. They haven't talked to me for a long time. You see that message there? Say, hey, do you remember me? She's in the 30s, mid 30s, 32, so 33 maybe. That we're talking. She's. I think if it's in summer, she'll be 33. If already or in this summer, yeah. You understand? Just to mess with them. And now they have these kids they're gonna frame me with. I don't even think they were born. Some of them when this message. So sad and pathetic. It's so sad. The crazy part is, I think that if I was in the same high school as them, I probably would be in high school with them at one point. So at one point, me and these people would be in the same school, would be in high school at the same time. We were in high school at the same time at one point. It's crazy. I'm never gonna let them live their fantasy. Never. Never. But they can manipulate the brain however they want. Now, reality, target individual, please do not identify with the way they manipulate you. They are rewiring the brain. You are no longer yourself. They just want to make you believe that what they're doing is not manipulation, which is retarded, because even the logic they want me to have consists of manipulations. They tell me I'm gonna be killed. It's so pathetic. I'll put that in their faces. What you see here, at the bottom, you see the place we used to go out. That's where between the age of 18 and 22 I used to go. This place there. Over there you see conversation with the people at when in 2009. Over there you see a person that I just in 2020. Just because these people are like, oh, with Matt, they look at this woman, 30 some years old. Just to understand like the where the range of The two that she's a 33-year-old woman. The other one is gonna be 34, and I'm not much older than that. That's the reality of this. They are clowns, and so I'm like, okay, do your frame, but let me just bring the reality of what they're part of. And my brain is just having tried to create battles. These people, I've been blessed. But the fact that the people who put me in this program donated so much money to a man who was allegedly picking up kids as young as 14 years old. He was a 30-year-old assistant DA. He would pick up 14-year-old, 16 kids of all ages. And he was the assistant DA of the location he was in Alabama. We can't say his name. Now, this is just a blessing that comes with faith, I guess. Because what I'm saying is, this man that allegedly did what you're gonna hear did. The way they say his name is just, and I think it's because of the restrictions, and they still try to present themselves this fierce fan for that. Like one of this person that you see here. Oh my gosh, she's like you at war. She's such she honestly she's an adult grown woman, a professional, but she turns into like a high school kid. It's like a child almost. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like you guys become children. So, no, yeah, you're gonna die in the sewers. I rather die in the sewers because another thing they don't want to acknowledge, which I'll put that in their face, is because the entities that empowers them to blow my organs in this fashion are entities where pedophilia has been such an issue that the bill was created, a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act. That bill was prompted because there was so much child porn being done with it. In 2019, not too long ago, they work for governmental entities with so much issue with pedophilia that they even download child porn using the DoD computers. If this is not fate, that this bottom feels is like, hey, you're gonna acknowledge reality one way or another. I love that because it could have happened to me with me not having all this information. And then the reality of what they do to women, this foul trash, they're disgusting. I would die in hell in this violent way because they're doing that in the hope that it's going to counter reality. Nope. Reality is going to be reality. You see this message here, this messenger, Facebook messenger, 2009, talking to somebody who's best friend with the person I was dating in 2008. Do the math a little bit. This one trash mad. She's like thinking that because the way she make herself seen, I'm gonna be like, oh, you're mad, so oh gosh, I'm trash. I have no fucking respect for you. I would have died in fucking sewers. And by the way, you know why I can say Roy Moore, this man that allegedly pick up kids? The reason why I keep bringing that name up is because the people really responsible for my destruction are extremely conservative. They're so conservative that they donated money, $500,000. First half before allegation, second half after allegation, to a man called Roy Moore. This man allegedly was picking up kids when he was an assistant DA. Allegedly. Oh, they gave the other half after the allegations. While everybody backed up, no, he did. So I just gotta be so thankful for the way we've been validated. You know, the thought process is so manipulated. You know how what they manipulated me? So my brother is a few years younger than me, under 4. And so he had to take a summer school just to finish high school. I go and drop him to this summer school place. He's telling me, oh, the girls there are looking. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Mind you, my brother's 3 and lower years younger than me. I said, oh, you see, you talking about high school? What? I just got out of the high school not too long ago. This is the things they use for today. Today they make me. It's like, you see, in 2008, in 2009, you. This is what. This is how sad it got. You were talking about your. As at that point, I still had like friends that just graduated. Oh, this people is so nasty and so pathetic. But I love the fact that they have to dumb themselves down. I love the fact that they have to create this fantasized reality where me talking to my brother and him talking about, oh, the girls there, there's like, oh, cool, yeah, really. It's not even about like me being with them. It's like me talking to my brother who's still in high school, who's 3 years younger than me. And today, as a fucking 30-some-year-old man, these perps are trying to use this thought process to make me accepting of how they make me experience things today. And it's boxing in. They're boxing in these retardations. I call that retardation, but I love to say that, to put that in their faces. I want to say that out loud. I purposely speak that out loud. I don't care how dumb they make themselves be. I don't care how they try to gaslight me or try to look at them in a. Because what happens is when they start making you think in this way, then they want to show you should accept these ways of thinking. Because look at me. Look how competent I am as a person. It's all gaslighting. I know what I just said makes not a lot of sense because it's hard to comprehend the abilities of what this technology can do. This technology can alter your mind. And then they can implant a thought process. And obviously, I put that in their face. I'm not going to lose track of reality. It's truly a cognitive warfare. You're going to hear that. They are implanting personalities. And then they have people around you who have no shame of how stupid things look like. They don't care. No. You know, they tell me how they feel bad. I'm like, I'm not expecting you to feel bad for what you're doing to me. You're a piece of shit. I won't even, it'll be worse. You feel bad about torturing me, but you're torturing me? Trash ass. No. I was like, don't you feel bad to feel like you have to be a retard? I've humiliated these people magically. And the way they interact with me via voice to call, I swear to God, I don't understand how they can find the ability to sound that way. It's like, wait, yeah, no, it's you. And then immediately they like to deflect, oh, we're close. Because what's happening? And that's what you're going to hear. My body is being also destroyed. They're doing things to my organs. For digesting, ingesting, all of that, they're destroying. And so it's going to be a slow death, which I'm okay with. Because during this slow death, I will bring them to a death that they don't understand yet. Death of respect. They will now respect themselves. Then the day comes when they get reimbursed in different ways. They're doing that. This technology is destroying my organs and my thought process because they're working for governmental entities that are developing this technology. I am a target individual. What's happening to me is this 21st century weapon system. This 21st century weapon system that is being developed by the Department of Defense is being used on guinea pigs, which are target individual. And they are looking at the tactics that will be breaking, tormenting to the target individual. They attack the body and the mind, and the mind, that's how they attack it. But for me, for this trash to try to project this false reality, when the reality of what they're part of is so magically obvious, that the entities that empowers them to be closing my whatever organs they're closing are so pedophilia centric that a bill called, let me repeat that, they hate that, called End National Defense Network Abuse Act was prompt in 2019 because they were downloading so much child porn using DoD computers. They're working for entities filled with pedophiles where pedophilia is such an issue, and then they try to make you accepting of these pedophilia issues, these pedophilia manipulations. They make you experience this thing, and the thought process, oh my gosh, it's like a mentally retarded human being is in your brain and wants you to think in this way. But this mentally retarded individual is also doing it for the cognitive warfare of it all. There was a testimonial of this person say mental retardation is one of the symptoms. They are making him think like a mentally ill individual, mentally retarded. Your logic, your thought process is of one of a mentally challenged individual, where mentally logic and rationality is no longer. It's a rationality of a not even a child, of somebody who's just out of it. So these people be humiliated by the reality that you actually work for pedophiles and you are here trying to make me accept you of this pedophilia type of torture about talking to me about me in what 2008 2000 and talking about me about people who are within the same age range. Today these people are 30 something, mid 30s, just like me. You idiot, dumbass, trash. And they have sold their kids. They were even born. You know this message. They were, some of them weren't even born when I was talking to this person. And I pray that they continue to live this life because I know the reality of what's going to happen to them. They are blocking our reality. Reality is easily called out here. It's going to be an easy call. This low life, especially these children, will get something coming to them. And it's not going to be good. The parents should have thought that and like, listen, I'm out here trying to make people acceptive of this persona. But on top of that, they want me to look at them as these Avengers, and they're like, no, but I remember when you went to that nightclub, this, and I'm like, oh, first of all, you're gonna hear something else. The reason why there's such a rage is not only that I'm bringing up the issues that these entities have, the fact that they came and say Roy Moore, because the people who put me in this program, the reason why I'm destroyed, the reason why I made a video in 2020 saying these people put me in this program, now I'm dying slow. And these people spend money on Roy Moore, which is a name that they have to say very carefully or very timed. Let me repeat that. They have to say the word Roy Moore in a very, very quiet way, validating me in a sense that look at this bottom feeders came and said this man allegedly, or who allegedly was picking up kids as young as 14 years old when he was a 30-year-old some assistant DA. And Roy Moore needs to be said in a way that can hear them. They have to say in this very, very, very well structured way, and still trying to sound fierce. It's like, yo, bottom feeder, because you can't say Roy Moore here. I give it the time for them. They won't say it because they know how they can say it, which validates me even more. On top of the fact there's a bill called and National Defense Network Abuse Act, and they're here talking about me when I'm just graduated high school, early 20s, late teens, to try to make me acceptive of what they make me experience today, to the point of talking about somebody who's today is 34 years old. So you can give you the math how old I am. Yeah, not too far from that. That today this person is turning 33. Do the math. Yeah. Do you understand the way they want me to be? Oh, and they committed to this retardation, no? They are fully committed to this retardation. Fully. Matter of fact, as I'm speaking right now, they are doing everything possible to deflect these people that you see here that turn into children. That you see here. Oh, deflection of all sorts. And they torture women in horrible ways. You're going to hear this woman who I've heard before, Rachel, talk about she's not going to kill herself. That's what they're involved in. They do this psychological manipulation to the point where they want to push people to killing themselves. This woman talks about how she's not going to kill herself. She's a Christian woman. She don't believe in killing herself. She will fight. This shit I try to deflect from that reality and talk about these ways of making me acceptive. Talk about me when I'm in just graduate high school and talk about no, but this person is 2 years younger than me. She's now whatever you can make me think of to make me acceptive of it. I'm like, I'll never let you live your fantasy. Say Roy more clearly, and then maybe I'll think about it. Go ahead. Trash ass. Bottom feeders, stay strong and see this low life for what they are. So I just want to start off by bringing up the reality of what it is. Now, what you see here, let me just refer here. As you can see, is this an interaction of people I had interaction when I was early 20s or so. So these people are 3 years younger than me or so. Today, because they do this manipulation, they're trying to make me accepting of this as they are. You see, that's proof. That's proof. You're a pedophile. Can you imagine? I love the fact that they have to be retarded. Now, they're pedophiles. Let me just make it clear. It's not that they're with people that are 3 years younger or around that. We're talking about grown ass men with children. Okay? And in case they forget who's their pedophile, I just love to put that in their faces. I will not let this low life live their fantasy, because what's happening today, God is so good for me to be able to put that in their face, as they're gonna use their children to frame me. And I love the fact that they try to be badasses, but we're so mean, because these perps really are trying to sell this fantasized reality. And they tell me how I'm gonna be burning. I was like, at this point, I think I can pour gasoline on myself and light myself up and scream in pain, because this is magical. This is what target individual believe, that we're chosen in the sense of like a purpose greater than us. These people will try to sell this, and they did that to the wrong person, because in the sense of how I love that I can do what you're about to hear, it gets me, I get excited for it. I get excited to just be able to put that in their faces, and knowing that they're gonna be watching me and having to dumb themselves down. Like I said, I was at this restaurant place. This guy comes and looking at his like, oh, I pedophile. I'm like, what? I went to the restroom, listen to this is what you're gonna hear. I come back, I look at him in the kitchen, I start knocking. This guy doesn't want to be seen. He's like, yeah, you see reality. And now they try to hold on to this to try to make me acceptive of today. Because what's happening today, you're gonna hear. They do this manipulations. This consistent manipulation they do to others, and there's a purpose behind that, and they do want you to identify with that, and they do implant a personality, which you're going to hear that. I'm going to call that out before it happens. Now, being a target individual, what it means, unfortunately, and the truth is, we have to accept that target individual, we are test subjects. For what? The Department of Defense are developing weapon system that can attack the mind and the body. When it comes to the body, my body is being destroyed. Like I mentioned, they are slowly breaking me down. Soon I'll see the effect of that. Psychologically, they are trying to break you down too, manipulating you to get experience nasty reaction, stimulation, and wanting you to accept to this false persona. So that's why they are here. You're looking at this interaction with, for example, this person over there is somebody. We're talking about college. She started in college. I just went to a new college. At this point, is this interaction, this person is 18 years old, I'm 23. And literally, you just heard me. This to them is not a validation. This is another validation. Actually, I think, no, I met her. Well, you'll see with multiple. You see the first interaction, she's 18, I'm 23. I turned 23 24 after October or so. Oh no, sorry, after November or so. This is what they use to validate themselves. Like, no, they are see what? Well, I'm okay with them. I'm okay with them being this retarded, because I put that in their face. I'm okay for them to be stooped to this level. You look at the dates. The interaction start from August to when she's in college too. Few months later, because she took the semester off because of some personal situation that was happening. Then we start talking about college together. I'm in college. This I put that in their face because I know that they want me to dumb myself down to that level. I have no problem to in reality show, okay, well, listen to what these entities have going on and what's the issue going on. And I know they're not that stupid. I just understand they have a purpose. Their task is to get you to accept this manipulation. Like I said, they're using even their own children and use that as a validation for today when they manipulate me. And for them to even have their children who I don't even think they were born. Some of them, because they talk about some kids are like 15, 14. Some of this conversation there is 2009. These people 2008. And they're using these kids they're gonna use them to frame me, saying that I did something to their kid. I'm like, listen, for me, I'm understanding that I'm literally dying. I'm wasting away. but you have humiliated yourself, you have compromised your own children, and look at clown like you are. Listen to the issue that these entities that are developing this weapon system have. I love to put that in their faces. Listen to this.
Has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material called Project Flicker. Some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who are perpetrating this.
So Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger is the co-author to this bill. She said this, quote, the notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace and one we must fight head-on. Now, the fact that the Pentagon workers, be they civil or military or otherwise, already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work, is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office, whether it's a Department of Defense office or it's the offices at RT America, wherever you go into an office, you do not have the right to simply use the technology within that office space however you want. And you certainly don't have the right to use it in a criminal manner. So essentially this bill is trying to do, again, two things. It's trying to limit that and crack down on the misuse of those computer systems, but it also is going after those individuals. One of the things that this bill attempts to do, and there's a Senate version of it put together by Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, but essentially what these two bills are trying to do is say, look, the Department of Defense does not have an adequate way of responding to this, of tracking down and investigating who as an individual is misusing these computers, who is sharing these pornographic images of children, who is sending them to whom. And so one of the things it does is the bill actually opens up civilian law enforcement to come in and to work with the Pentagon and with the DoD to actually investigate and to track down who is misusing, again, these computers for this purpose. So the bill, it's about more than just stopping it. It's about going after those who have been perpetrating it, who so far aren't being gone after.
Now, Ben, you and I, obviously, we're both parents here, and this is something that is terrifying, I think, to anybody that is a parent. What about the bigger... Infuriating. I mean, it's disgusting and maddening. The bigger picture here, Ben, how do we, the people, crack down on this? It's a disgusting crime. How is this continuing to proliferate in a day where they can track your every movement and what you do?
Well, because clearly in this case, these are the people who are helping to do the tracking. I know NSA and a lot of these civilian agencies do, but when you reach a certain point within these military spaces, a lot of these people apparently feel that they can go untouched, and so far they pretty much have. About 80% of the cases where child pornography has been sent through.
Okay, so you kind of get the reality, right? Oh, it doesn't end there, and I love the fact that I can put that in their face. They're like, "Oh, you're so done." Of course, I'm done because at the end of the day, you're gonna hear what entities are doing that to me. They can use these losers of human beings that think this is a victory and they have won and if they finish me. Of course, that's what is expected. That's what's gonna happen. There's nothing a target individual can do in regard the manipulation. We just guinea pigs. But I love to put reality in their faces because they question like this.
Why are so many
Right.
pedophiles allowed to be given top level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, "Hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job?" You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles?
You understand? They're talking about me talking to somebody 3 years younger than me, 4 years, or somebody who goes to college while I'm in college. This it's just magical. Oh, you know the bad things this person is talking about. This is the kind of nastiness that's ongoing in these entities, and I'm gonna relate back to why I'm bringing up these entities' actions to these people try to make you accepting of this manipulation.
To the proliferation of graphic material called Project Flicker, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device (PED) policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who were
Okay, so the Department of Defense has so much issue with child porn and trafficking child porn that the bill was prompted because a lot of it was happening, and they were ranking them as top tier for child porn trafficking in the United States. Let me tell you, right now, the way they are altering my mind to make sense of how they make me experience it is just magical. And to them, they take that as war. War for them is to deflect from reality, distort reality, and make you accepting of this put together retardation of reality. Matter of fact, if you see a picture over there all the way, let me just say, they are trying to piece things together. So when they make me experience today, they'll be like, oh no, they will be like, oh, we are analyzing you. We're mapping you. When the truth is, they're obviously altering my brain because what's happening today, I'm forced to get these manipulated stimulations. So they take whatever they can. But the humiliating reality that these entities, other entities running this program, have this issue. For example, what you see over there, where it's a picture of some kind of person in bikini. I keep bringing her up because this to them is like, oh, the validation. In 2014, right? I followed this person on some social media. Never talked to her. This person looked like she was a young adult. It's those people that you look at them think they're young adults. I'm myself a young adult, but a little bit on the older side of 20s. You know how they're like, no, but you see, and they try to make me think of like, when I discovered, right, that she was not a young adult when I followed her, I was shocked because I was like, this person looks so much like an adult. They even tried to create thought processes like, no, but you didn't care. I was like, is this what you make me think? I didn't even have a doubt that, not even that. I looked at her, I was like, oh, she's a young adult. Even the setting where she was, I was like, oh, this is like a college campus looking. And now in my mind, they try to be like, but if you looked at it this way, it's like, no, I thought she. And you see how she looked in this picture. This is not her when I follow her because I don't want, they're going to force me to get stimulation just because in that picture she's not. But she looked just like that. It's scary how old she looked when she was not an adult. But like, yeah, I see, that's proof. Yeah, just like, it was so pathetic. But it's okay. You guys work for these governmental entities with this actual issue, pedophilia. And so right now they try to find things to put together to make you acceptive of this manipulation. You hear this noise campaign? This is how they try to deflect or box in a thought process. They have no shame. Because it gets worse than that. Oh, pedophilia issue. Oh, it's written by, it's validated by CNN. In 2019, they wrote a piece about how pedophilia centric they are. You hear the noise campaign around there? Oh, everybody's trying to create this. It's magical that I'm the most logical human being right now around me. And I love to bring that in their faces because their job is to push me into insanity. I'm like, okay, well, while you push me into insanity, please give me the honor to make sure that you see how retarded you have to be. Well, reality of what you're part of consists of these entities, which I'm going to end up bringing those entities back in the loop. Why I know the Department of Defense is involved in this. Listen to this. This is the same thing you heard. Listen to what CNN said about this.
Who worked on child exploitation and child pornography cases, called the abuse and exploitation of children through pornography horrific crimes. The notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace, and one we must fight head-on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography.
Yep. This is magical. And I love to put that in the perps who are trying to gaslight me into accepting this narrative they put together, with the ways they piece things together, with the way they try to take on whatever they can to make me acceptive of. Because today, what you're going to hear what they do. You're going to hear truly what they do. And I love putting that in their faces because today, there's grown men and women using their own children to frame me. Grown men and women coming up with ways of creating a thought process to make you find this manipulation logical. And I love that the reality of what they're part of is consisting of such an issue of pedophilia, where a bill called and National Defense Network Abuse Act was created because the entities that empowers them to be such analyzers, and I'm being very sarcastic, have this issue with pedophilia. Oh, God is good. I know whatever I'm going to go through is going to be horrible. The rage of the reality is what they're going to have toward me. But continue to hear this. This is bad.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired.
Synthetic telepathy. They're following the handbook perfectly.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind?
Okay. Now imagine people, and you'll see why I say these people, contracted by these entities, trying to make you acceptive of this thought process and manipulation. I mean, some of the things they try to use, like, no, but remember this thing you heard in high school that made you laugh, then you used to make fun of it. It's so pathetic. To put together a thought process to make what you experience today a logical experience that's being manipulated, but to make me perceive this manipulation as a sensical thing to be experiencing, because these people are analyzing, and it's so full of trash and low life. These bottom feeders are just bottom feeders for these governmental entities with clear issue with pedophilia. And on top of that, they do these tactics consistently. This is not only unique to me, they do that to others, and I'm glad to be able to put that put that in their faces, as every day they try to block reality. Can you imagine deflecting this? The best part is when they're like, oh, you are pedos. Like, awkwardly enough, actually, you actually are the pedos. Big time. Like, and National Defense Network abuse level. Yeah. That's why I believe in God more than ever. And they can send this child like trash. Analyzing. Investigating. That's the way I use investigating, because they're on that level. They're on the spectrum. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to mock people with actual mental handicap. If they don't have mental handicap, they just become that when necessary. Oh, they can turn it off and on anytime. Matter of fact, what they try to do is sometimes to create validation. They do things where, oh, you see, I can do this and that, so I'm not lying about this, or I'm not creating a distorted reality. It's like they try to get credibility for me to identify and understand and find logicalness in their distorted thought manipulation. The distorted reality is crazy. But they've made me become this genius. Even in my state of just degrading, my brain is degraded. It's hard for me to express myself. But I understand my words are going to be very limited. It's going to get worse. But this is how I'd rather use my last words. I'll put that out there. Let this trash block that every day. Deflect from that. I know it doesn't change what's going to happen to me, but it clearly doesn't make them feel better about themselves. That's for sure. And I don't care if they feel bad or good. I just don't want them to look at themselves as this like avenger. If anything, it makes them angry, enraged. It's going to get worse for me because of that, even worse than what it was going to be. Oh, by the way, they still try to present themselves as these avengers. Like, you're paying now. Okay, you're going to hear a lot of testimonials. You've heard a lot of testimonials of women. Let me just give you a sample of how bad they are to women. Right? But before I do that, let me just say another thing. In regard of why I find myself lucky, is the entity that put me in this program. Those entities have had issue with child porn. Sorry. The organization that put me in this program, this organization have had a trend of donating money to very conservative individual, no matter who they are, just because they're pushing the agenda they wanted to push. One of the men they donated money to was a very disturbing man, in the sense that they are based on the allegation. Allegedly, when he was an assistant DA, because at that point now, when he's running for governor in Alabama, he's a judge. But when he was an assistant DA, in his 30s or so, a bunch of women came up and said that when he was an assistant DA, he would approach them and try to do things to them when they were as young as 14 years old. Young teenager, older teenager, kids of all ages in the teenagehood, and trying to do things to them, doing things to them, literally calling the high schools and asking the high school, because this is somebody with influence. He's an assistant DA in the state. He has connections. Oh, he'll call the schools and, hey, can you let this kid go to take her on a date or something like that. Now, listen, this person, which his name you're going to hear, Roy Moore, has nothing to do with me. But the reason why I bring that up is because I love the fact that for some reason, the way they say this man's name, which is Roy Moore, is in this restrictive way, meaning that they can't say his name openly. They have to wait when I say the name. It's like they have mystified somebody who allegedly was picking up kids. And when they say that name in this mystical way, in a secretive way, they try to still try to sound fierce. I'm like, you're such a sad, pathetic lowlife. Here, if I said, hey, Perps, can you say Roy Moore? They won't. But they'll wait till maybe I'm talking or something else, or I'm paying attention somewhere else to say his name. Because for some reason, it's not allowed to be said in that fashion. I was like, you are Roy Moore. What? Excuse me? They can't repeat that openly. And I put that in their face. Let me just listen to who they're mystifying here.
Data storage should be ranging from inappropriate flirting to sexual assault. The latest for Jenna Richardson tells the Washington Post she was in high school, a senior, working at the mall in Gadsden, Alabama in 1977 when a 30-year-old Moore asked for her phone number. She declined, but she says Moore called her high school, had her pulled out of class, and he asked her out. Days later, she says that date ended with a, quote, unwanted, forceful kiss. Becky Gray, who also worked at the Gadsden Mall, tells the Washington Post Moore would linger, and she reported him to her manager when he kept asking her out. She was 22 at the time. But even more women came out yesterday. Tina Johnson tells Alabama.com she was 28 years old in the law office. She was there for Moore in 1982. Thorpe says she asked him, do you know how old I am? He reportedly responded, I go out with girls your age all the time. Kelly Harrison Thorpe says she was just 17 years old when she turned down an overture from Moore in 1982. Thorpe says she asked him, do you know how old I am? He reportedly responded, I go out with girls your age all the time. Those new accusations follow Beverly Young Nelson's emotional claim on Monday that Moore sexually assaulted her when she was 16 years old and he was 30. She says it happened when he gave her a ride home from her job. But the flood of accusations began 1 week ago. Lee Korfman tells the Washington Post she was only 14 when Moore, then 32, An assistant district attorney sexually assaulted her back in 1979. Wendy Miller says she was 14 when Moore first approached her at the mall, and was 16 when Moore asked her out on dates. But she says they did not go out because her mother forbade it. Debbie Wesson Gibson says she was only 17 when Moore asked her out on several dates that, quote, did not progress beyond kissing. And Gloria Thacker Deason told the Post she was an 18-year-old cheerleader when Moore started taking her out on dates.
A food courting. Or even went to the mall to get into the holiday spirit. One woman recalls that she was 14 and working as Santa's helper at the Gadsden Mall in 1977 when Moore first spoke to her and told her she would look pretty. 2 years later, when she was 16, he asked her out on dates. He hit on one of Santa's elves. Well, a true evangelical, he's putting the Christ back in Christmas. Wow. And it wasn't just the mall, folks. One Alabama journalist claims that Moore was also banned from the YMCA for his inappropriate behavior of soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA.
Yep. This is a name that they have restriction to say his name. You know what they were trying to do to counter? So you clearly hear that this was happening when he was an assistant DA. He's a 30-year-old plus man doing these things. You know they're trying to compare to me dating somebody 3 years younger than me. This is crazy. But sorry, it's not crazy. It's the level of thought process they want me to have. A man who's in his 30s, picking up kids from high school, try to compare me, 3 years, 4 years, maybe older, to the people I'm talking. Literally, I could have been, if we were going to the same high school, they would be in the same high school as me. Me in college with somebody, well, that's how bad it is. But this is how my thought process have been forced to think. This is how they want you to start have this logic, and that's how they're gonna try to break you down. As the reality has been devastating for them, that they work for governmental entities filled with pedophiles, and issues of crazy nature. There's even validation that they do this pedophilia type of social. What you gonna hear? I'm not done with them. And what they do to women, oh gosh. Now it's clear that this is more of like a psychological warfare and try to cognitively break you down, right? But the evilness of what they're part of is just magical too, in a negative way, of course. But meaning that I have these people trying to make me accept the narrations and reality they put together and the manipulations. Listen, this is an old testimonial of some woman called Rachel, and I think this is the kind of testimony that saved my life in the sense of not killing myself. Listen to this.
Hello, I'm Rachel Benfield, and basically I just want to speak out and let everyone know a situation that's been ongoing for quite some time, since October of last year, that I've noticed. I am a targeted individual that is dealing with voice to skull. This is not another Myron May video. I'm not going to commit suicide. I want to speak out about being a targeted individual and what we can do to stop this sick crime that's going on in America today. That's a silent crime, and I feel like we need to step out. The more people that speak out about it, and the more people that have their voices heard, and the more people that don't give up and support each other, we're going to be able to be strong and make it through it. I've met some really amazing people that has helped me along in this struggle and this fight as far as being a targeted individual. It's not easy. I've lost friends. I lost my job. I lost a relationship. I've lost a lot of things. I have the good days and the bad days. My phone is hacked. This is a crime. It's a silent crime. I had no idea what this was until last year. And I just feel like we need more people to speak out about it. I watched many, many YouTube videos. I met some really wonderful people that's in this. And I want to say that the support from everybody that's going through this has been just amazing. This has not been easy. I found that I cry a lot. At 35 years old, you do not come down with a mental illness. That's what they want you to think. They want to isolate you. They want you to think that you're mentally ill. They want you to be destitute. They want to target you. This is a psychological warfare, and we need to speak out about it. Every time you get knocked down, get back up. I'm a Christian. I'm not going to commit suicide. That's not what I'm going to do. I want to be a voice to other people that is going through this, or is newly going through it and don't understand it, just like I did when I was going through it in the beginning. I had no idea what it was. The mind games, the getting hit with electromagnetic currents, and the hatefulness, and the gang stalking. These are people that I'm convinced that are not Christians. I don't understand it. Probably never will. It's the most hateful, heinous crime that's being ignored. I think that there needs to be light shed on it. There are some protests coming up in October. I would like to see everybody that's a targeted individual to show, because we have a voice and it needs to be heard. There's a lot of scare tactics that's going to keep you from going. I've been told if I speak out, they will kill my son, or they will kill me. That's from the enemy. That's from the evil. That's from evil, and they're not going to stop me. So I want to get up and do something about it, be a voice, and not have another person drive to suicide over this whole thing. This is very evil. And I think in the target individual community, we should stand together and make this a known thing. Because people who are not going through it, they don't understand it. I didn't even understand it in the beginning myself. Let alone someone that is going through it, or not going through it. I don't know. We have to lift each other up in prayer and keep pushing forward and not let the enemy win. God bless.
So you understand that they have a goal of breaking people down into suicide, or just psychologically you just destroy them. And that's what they're doing, and it's continuously happening. And they use ways of that make you look at yourself in a degrading way. I love myself. I truly love myself more than ever. But if I end up killing myself, please understand that it's because I've been pushed to that level, maybe to torture. I think it's going to be the actual physical torture. But I love myself, and I'm so thankful to God that I never live life where I'm involved in that and creating this reality and this narrative and story, and be and have and live a life where I deflect reality in these ways. There's too much. There's too much validation. I can never let these people live their fantasy. Never. Now listen to what this is really about. So before I go to what you're gonna hear, that clearly hear the validations of what they're doing and the reason why they want me to identify with this retardation of logic, I just want to say you'll see also some perps over there. Those are the most pathetic human beings I've seen. I mean, they are sad as it gets. They have to deal with the reality because being the neighbors who are perps are always blast reality in their faces with the reality that the entities that have empowered these illusories of human beings are filled with pedophiles. The entities torture women and children. Those entities are the one in charge, and most importantly, that they couldn't even say the name that I'm going to say right now. The name that I'm going to say now is a name that you clearly hear the issues. Roy Moore. Let me repeat that. Roy Moore is a name that they've been very vigilant when saying his name. And I love that validation. Not too long ago, I saw this next door neighbor. They used, I call them the investigator, and I'm being funny because they have to be on the spectrum. And they were trying to make me think in this way. No, but you see that person, and you see this. This is all the screenshots of the messages or of who they want me to think they see there is, because when you were 20 you dated this person, when this and people that within my age range, and today as a grown-ass man they are forcing me to get sexual stimulation toward kids of all ages. Matter of fact, they tell me because the bill name and National Defense Network Abuse Act is called S1413, right? And S1413 is a bill that was created for specifically because the Department of Defense has so much issue with child porn. So to counter that, they tell me how I'm gonna be framed, right? Because S1413 and National Defense Network Abuse Act, right, is a bill that validates the fact that the entities that contract these illusories that live around you, that's supposed to make you accepting of that, are for sure contracted by entities with clear patterns and consistent issues with pedophilia. Right? And so the irony to see these losers of human beings that try to deflect that every day, and me putting that in their faces. Oh, they try to change. Oh, she's 14, as in the person they're gonna frame me with. So disgusting. But I love for them to be these bottom feeders. They know that when we see each other, I've already insulted one of them as a pedophile. I truly disrespect them in every means possible. I will have zero respect for them, and I pray that they continue to live this bottom feeder life. Now, these ways of putting things together to make me accepting of that is obviously what they're supposed to be doing. And they want to sell that. You clearly hear that I have zero respect for these people. Can you imagine this individual trying to make you accepting of this? That you've called them pedos in their faces? They can't even say Roy Moore unless they say it the right way. They can't even say Roy Moore and the entities that run with them, that run this program, top tier pedos. And the tactics they utilize a very pedophilia type of torture. They do the pedophilia type of torture, is clear, it's validated, and they're nasty bottom feeders. They cause mass shootings. You heard a woman talk about they tried to push her to suicide. They are nasty bottom feeders. And I'm glad that I'm the guy for them, that they look at me and it's like, hey, go ahead, try. Try. Listen, I'm going to her ways right now. And they know. And I love that. And they're like, you are pedo. So magical. Thank you. Say Roy Moore. No, huh? Okay. And I do that, and it's provoking to them. It's provoking. And the fact that I have matter of fact, is how I have destroyed every facade they've tried to portray. I've destroyed them. They're like, now we're mad that you are pedo. Remember, and look at this, for example, look at this person over there, which I'm talking to this person, saying it's been a long time, and this, it's like, look at her. Look at the date here. Can you imagine? And I'm talking to somebody 3 years younger than me. Look at this person now. This is 2020. Now she's a grown-ass woman. Like, we're both in our 30s. She's turning 33, maybe like in a few months. I'm not too far from that. I was like, yeah, better. At one point, they were like, this is New York. I'm like, oh my gosh. There's a kid who just got raped, 14 years old, from a different borough here. Got raped and filmed, got raped. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And this is based on how they're trying to paint these stories. For me, I know my brain's gonna go wherever it's gonna go. But for me to have the luxury to be able to put that in their faces, oh, don't worry. Whatever can trigger me to make these videos and to blast that in their faces, I will do it. I know my brain's gonna go where it's gonna go. Then we'll see. You're gonna live off your manipulation. I'm gonna live off the reality. And I reassure you, reality is gonna always win. Now, in regard what's gonna happen to me, I live within reality, so I know it's gonna be bad. Now, listen to the clear validation that this program is ran by these governmental entities with issues that we just talked about, that you just heard not too long ago. This is what this is about. I will never, ever, ever let these bottom feeders live their fantasy. It is clear what these people do. It is clear that this is part of a psychological warfare, cognitive warfare, manipulations that's utilized to break you down. Listen to this, right? This man describes the reality of that. The reason why they are here's iPad while they're actually working for pedos. Well, they can even say this man name where they're making fun of him. It's because this is what this program is entail. This is what it's about. It's about this.
Be my guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly, it's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds,
personalities. Rebuild.
And it's like
you just heard the last part. Personality rebuilt. They are implanting personality. That's why they look for what they can to put together. So when they make you experience this manipulation, they're like, no, but what we mapped it because you remember in 2008 this person, 2009 that, when you went to in 2011 when you to try to make you acceptable how you're forced to experience these things. Let me repeat that. Listen to what he said. I'm going to put it in slow motion. And you understand why these ways of just putting things together is needed. Listen to that.
To kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds.
Personalities. Rebuild.
And it's like change.
That's what this is about. Altering the mind and personality rebuilt. They are creating a false persona, wanting you to identify with this persona, have these clowns around you, try to make you accepting of it. And your brain is going to go where they want you to go because this is completely altering your brain. There's nothing you can do now. Target individual, one thing I would say, don't ever identify with this manipulation, ever. Your brain is no longer yours for you to you have no control over your brain. They are truly altering your brain. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing. And you have clowns with no respect. For me, I'm like, you doing that to the wrong person. Do you think I don't love doing these things where I humiliate somebody because this person wants to live a fantasized reality? And reality is this obvious? Oh God. Still tell me prep your fit and all, like, prep my fit? I cut my own fit right now. You think torture is going to change reality? Man, prep yourself. What's going to happen to me is already set. It's done. It's been done a long time ago because you can't say Roy Moore. Prep yourself in other ways than thinking about what's going to happen to me. I'm just going to be a prophet at this point. But listen to the obviousness of what this is about.
In 1969, Madaba's investigation of how machines can affect.
But the truth is just
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. Of innocent citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments. Is Cheryl Walsh telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welsh and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction, the ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behavior of human beings, going back to the Korean War. In fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems, being able to not just debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based on Alaska radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several of their programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You can change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
Designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
With external fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the president, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons. Microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I've submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City, alluding to the same thing.
You do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. You can call it a eugenics program. But also walk them to the. We want to see if they can hyper game theory. How do you? They want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people don't believe that, but you can't control me. I have my own free will.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of it. It's disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
They use these monarch style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, they're gonna use your libido to get back at you, and
this technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
What is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and form of torture. They coordinate the voice. I really mean extreme. I experienced an entire night with forced spontaneous orgasms repeatedly all through the night, one right after another, with maybe around 1 hour of sleep or so, as I lay immobilized in my bed.
Yes, I'm like...
In my mind, I could hear my own voice. I told them I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to me and my family. And said this, the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them, I able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of...
So you clearly hear reality of what this is about. This is why I was bringing up the Department of Defense, because it's clearly they've been working on a technology that can alter your mind and also destroy your body using these energy weapons. It's the 21st century weapon system. And so they create this reality, this falsified reality, to confuse you, to disorient you, to make you think that this is anything but a massive government. That's what this man here says, Robert Duncan. This is why they have this like facades and this like this character and this comical ways of trying to make you see this falsified reality that they've created. It's because they're trying to disorient you, distort reality, and make you think that this is anything but this massive government that's apparently have issue with child porn and pedophilia, using you as a guinea pig to develop this weapon system, which is the 21st century weapon system. And they do these tactics not only to you, but listen to this.
Information crews, people that carry the E2K. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. the trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government.
So you clearly hear that this is what they do. Now, starting from the beginning, what trigger all these ways of trying to make me think? And this is this podcast, which I'm gonna give you a sample of what was being said here. Uh, and the reason why I'm pulling up this, for me, I understand they can make my brain go that way. There's nothing I can do about that. My brain is no longer functioning in a rational way, in the sense that logic has been poisoned. Logic, rationality, thought process is poisoned in the sense that I don't think like somebody should think. I'm forced to think in these illogical ways. As you heard, we are rewired to think a certain way. And then there's a whole ecosystem that consists also of your coworkers, which for me, oh my gosh, I've seen them to become. I mean, it's just another level. It's funny they try to sometimes use that as ways to just try to make me accept your thing. I was like, do your thing. I don't have no shame making them look stupid. You just heard all of that, right? You see this is the pictures that you see are a screenshot of people that they try to use, and you see that's validation because you were with her. You were her 3 years younger than me. Her now 33 years old, graduating. I was just starting college. Look at that. Or her, both going to college together. We talk about that, and they're bringing that this because they try to create a pattern. It's like, oh, you see, it's so sad. It's like, oh, there is a pattern. Those people where there's been a pattern of consistent child porn being trafficked. I love the fact that you have to be this stupid, but it's okay. They have to maintain that. For me, you give me the opportunity to look at your dumbass, knowing that you are about to frame me using children. By the way, you heard like 14-year-old kids you use in this program in this fashion. Nothing unique. You heard the patterns of forcing people to. The reason why they're bringing these things together is because today, just like that woman you heard, they force you to have this reaction toward children, from the babies to older kids. They do this pedophilia type of torture, and then so now they want you to like, oh no, what we're doing, we're just analyzing you. There is a pattern. Look here. And for me, sometimes I'm like, I can't stop by laughing. So look at your clown laugh. It's bad enough that you can't even say the name of this man. It's horrible enough to find out the entities running this program are filled with pedophiles. Where they're asking why is there so many pedophiles in these agencies. Then it's the validation that they force people to have this nasty reaction toward children. Then you hear that they do this thing which is cognitive warfare, where they try to implant personality into people. You hear the women, the torture. I didn't bring the torture of children because that's gonna be even worse, but I don't need to. And today, oh, I love something that validates me. It's not fair. We're gonna frame you. I was like, no, you guys out here can't even save way more. You torture children. You're involved in a program which the entities are filled with pedophiles. You are a bottom feeder for entities filled with pedophiles. And then you want me to think that you guys are analyzing me and you're not manipulating my brain the way you've been manipulating so many others. And you look who's talking to you. You see these people over there in the corner? Looking at their phone? This is the investigators. Those are the investigators. Clowns. I will never let them live their fantasy. Now, listen to what they wanted me to identify with. Listen to this.
I ain't number 13 years old, bro. I'm not supposed to be in those motherfuckers. Yeah, and I met the girl at was at the Labor Day Classic. Anybody from Texas? They know what You know what the Labor Day Classic is? Come on. Okay, then this is a fucking factual story. I'm 13, 14 years old, whatever age I was. We at the Labor Day Classic football game. This was
at TSU and
I think Louisiana, Louisiana is
HBCU. Yeah,
it's a big ordeal in the HBCU. It used to be held at the Astrodome. We used to go there to fight. All the schools used to go there to go fight at the Texas.
So what you saying is these older bras was choosy.
Yeah, man. She seen my hands and the way we dressed.
Why you look at me like they was choosy?
I don't know. I just knew early. I knew I was chosen early. That's all I can say. I knew I was chosen early. When I got my 17, by the time I'm 17 and 19 and stuff, we driving cars and houses out for being handsome. Like my life was already gone somewhere else.
But all right, so Gigi and Win, as the women in the room, when you were in high school, I couldn't fathom a younger, because when you were in high school, you dating guys that's like.
I was in high school dating guys that I didn't have no business dating.
I was about to say that. See, the other way around. See, when we was in school, the girls in high school was dating niggas in their 20s.
Yeah, I was getting. They
was choosing him
in Lexuses, and I was getting picked up for few differently.
It's only the chosen few. It's very much more accessible for beautiful women, or whatever. Like, cause I can't.
So what are y'all saying? Is it a problem because, like you just said, I know when I was in high school, we couldn't compete with the dudes 24, 25 dating 10, 11 graders. Right. So is it a problem now because of his shit?
I just want to say that's creepy too.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I remember being in high school and this girl that used to drive, her brother used to drive us to school, and one Valentine's Day he gave me like a gift, and and I was like, this is disgusting. And he used to wear a suit. And I felt so young to like have somebody that much old. And he was probably like 22 or something. Yeah. But I was like, this is gross. Because when I was in high school, I want to date other high schoolers, or at least somebody that's like just graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when we grew up, that was like a notch on your belt. That was like a achievement to be able to talk to a girl that's way older than you, or you talking to a girl that already got a driver's license and you don't got a license yet. It's just, that's just whatever.
Yeah, listen.
But for a girl, it's creepy as fuck. Right. Like the other way around, that shit is creepy. Like you don't know grown ass man be picking up a high school girl. Period.
You don't think it's creepy both ways?
It's creepy both ways.
I mean, look at it. I'm looking at it. I got a kid. My son,
he's like
22,
man.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I still look at it.
In a world where everybody wants to be equal, but it's sorry.
I feel like it's different. I agree. I think it's different. At 15, I had no way I should have been dealing with 22. It was 22, 23 when I was 15.
Yeah.
And it was more than one, actually.
And they was coming to the school picking you up.
Yeah. I'm sorry, giving me money, dropping me off at the hair salon, taking me shopping.
So this is what we're talking about. Okay. This is how they wanted me to see myself. You see these people there. Those were people who were graduating while I just graduated. Oh, just not too long ago graduated. We would have been in the same high school together. Now I know I put reality in their faces. I understand my thought process can go there. It's not about reality, it's about how can you make somebody think. You hear this woman talk about when she was 15, she was going out with some 22-year-old, which I'm sure kids here have seen the things like that happening here too. Or I think, not seen it, but I know kids here do this thing, this nasty. I grown too. So versus me talking about somebody 3 years younger than me, or somebody who are about to go to college and I'm in college. It's trying to paint these stories. I refuse to let them live their fantasy. Because this is the nastiness that is actually happening a lot here. I'm sure in New York, oh my gosh, I can only imagine like some 15-year-old or some 20-some-year-old. Ugh. And so for me, they try to, okay, what can we bring? Oh, that girl. I graduated a year before she became a senior. 3 years difference. Me and her would have been in the same high school together. This person too. I met her when she was graduating. I was still in college because of my friend. This is and they want to make me think in this. It's crazy. That's why I have these messages. We're all in our 30s at this point. This person that you see here talk about college. We met when she finished high school. She's about to go to another country, where you see here, to go to college. I'm in college. We talk about, okay, when you make to when in my college and your college is close to one another, I can go see you. That's what we're talking about. But I understand it's no longer about reality. It's how they can paint this falsified reality. I'm never gonna let these people live their fantasy. Never. And you see in the middle there, this picture. This is where I used to go out between age 18 and 22. There was me and my best friend that you see there. We used to go there throughout, pre 21 and a little bit after. He loved it a little bit more, but I went there because at one point it was the only place I could go. And also based on location. All within the same age range. But they try to make me acceptive of these storylines because these stories of these people here are like high school kids, like as young as 15, as this woman said, 15, 16, dating 22, 23, 24. It's nasty. But I'm going to put the reality in their face. Put the reality that me, I was with somebody who was 3 years younger than me. Just finished high school. She's about to start senior year. That's her first the year. I just graduated last year. That's the. So for me, I'm never gonna let them live their fantasy. I want you to look at the date. And so today, when I'm forced to get stimulation, oh, we mapped it because they have some kids and whatever. Or sometimes it's not. Whoever they want me to get stimulation, like now we mapped it because like that you already dated this person 3 years younger than you. I will not let them live their fantasy. It is nasty, and this is what they do. They try to recreate reality in the fashion they want you to. But I put that in their face. I will never let them live their fantasy. Never. So they talk about how I'm going to be screaming in pain. Yes, I'll be in pain. I'll be harmed. I'll be hurt. But you do that to women and children. And you are out here recreating reality. For me, they box in this way of thinking and it's locked in my brain the way they wanted to. They even make me feel this fake anxiety. I'm like, don't worry, I'll put the reality in your face. And this is why you see the picture you see there. Do the messaging and everything else. Target individuals stay strong. See the things for what they are. Look at these bottom feeders for what they are. You see these investigators over there in their pages looking at their phone. Those are the mappers, the analysts. No. Or they get tortured the way they want you to be tortured. Then let them live their fantasy. Stay strong, target individual. Stay strong.